Hi everyone, welcome to another video. If you hear anything in the background, my kittens are out and they're playing, so let them have fun. So I wanted to sit down and film another chit chat get ready with me, one for like March, kind of like a March update. I've been thinking about doing monthly how's my life been kinds of get ready with me's, where I kind of just give a quick update on what's been going on in my life, especially if it's relevant to my filming or my work or anything of that sort. So I definitely kind of like keeping you guys posted just so that you guys are informed if anything seems to change or if I seem to be acting differently or whatever. And I'm also going to be using some products from Becca. I know, I was really shocked. I don't actually own much from them aside from like a couple of highlighters. So when I heard that they were closing down, I had things on my wish list from them for like months now, but I just never got around to buying it because I was kind of just waiting for sales or waiting for my Ulta points to stack up. So when I heard that they were closing, and then Morgan Turner Makeup actually had a 25% off code that she discovered worked on their website, I did go ahead and buy everything I wanted before it was going to sell out. I already was too slow to get their Year of the Ox Pig highlighter, so that definitely broke my heart a little bit, but I was able to get my hands on almost everything else that I was looking for, so now I have a couple more highlighters, but I also was really interested in getting their primers. I actually don't like their under eye corrector. It didn't do a thing for me. I have tried it and then I promptly gave it away. So that definitely didn't work for me, but they did just restock that. So if you've been wanting to get it and it was out of stock, I did get an email from them saying they restocked, so you should totally go check that out. So the first thing that I got from Becca is the Backlight priming filter, or Backlight priming filter. I'm not so sure what it does. I threw out the box and now I don't know what it does, but I figured I would just go ahead and try it and see what it does, I guess. It was this and their other First Light priming filter that I've been really interested in trying for a very long time. I just hadn't got around to buying it. So I did go ahead and I finally bought it, and I do really want to try it and see what it does that everybody was saying makes it so good. Like, just straight out of the bottle, it's kind of giving me Hollywood Flawless filter vibes, but with it's a lot less obvious. So it's kind of like that, but make it more like something, because like I wouldn't put the Flawless filter all over my face. It would just turn me into like a disco ball. So this looks more like it's like Flawless filter, but you can put it all over your face as a primer. It also feels really hydrating, which I really like. My skin has been really dry, and you can see my forehead is covered in angry red bumps. I think it has something to do with my bangs now, so my bangs are always touching my skin, but gosh, yeah, it's pretty bad. Put some extras on my cheeks. You definitely don't need a whole pump. I pumped out a whole pump on the back of my hand and I can't use it on my entire face. So definitely don't do that. Or I just have a really small face. It has a slight lotiony fragrance to it, but it totally goes away. It doesn't bother me at all. Because you can kind of see, it does give my skin just this really pretty glow. It makes my skin look really youthful and hydrated, even though it's, it's dry. It felt hydrating going on, but it didn't actually really add that much moisture. So it feels good and it doesn't dry your skin out more than it already is, but it definitely isn't going to add moisture like some other hydrating primers would. So I personally would probably put on a hydrating primer and then I would put this on top. But it feels just kind of like a baby version of Flawless filter, and I actually prefer this. I do have Flawless filter and I like it, but I can't use it all over my face, and so then I forget to use it. I'm gonna go in with foundation now. I'm using the Estee Lauder Futurist Hydra foundation. I just did another pretty large declutter. I got rid of some foundations that I'm just not using anymore, and I'm really paring down, especially because I have so many foundations on my wish list, and I keep telling myself that I really need to like keep a hard cap on the number of foundations I own so that I'm not sitting on all these foundations I don't use, since foundations can actually expire. So if I keep telling myself if I want a new foundation, I have to give away or sell a foundation. That's what I'm telling myself right now. And so far it's been working. I still have more foundations than the average person needs, but that's just because I really like having all different kinds of finishes and different coverage levels for my preferences, because what I want kind of changes day by day. But I realized I don't have any more full coverage foundations in my collection anymore because I got rid of them all. Like a Face Tape, I passed that on. The Juvia's Place one, I passed that on. So all I have left now are sheer to medium coverage foundations, and almost all of them are either dewy or satin. And I'm not like a super big matte foundation person, but I kind of wish I had one just in case I ever needed it, I guess. But yeah, I don't have any anymore. I've heard really good things about the Guerlain foundation, which is not full coverage either, but it's more full cover. It's like more full coverage than what I have right now, and they have the natural one and they have a matte one, which I think is on Selfridges. I've been considering getting that. If anyone has like matte fuller coverage foundation recommendations, definitely let me know. I'd be really interested in trying them. I'm also using this CLIO Hydro Makeup Sponge, and it's okay, I don't recommend it. It's really hard to get rid of the sponge marks on your face for some reason. It leaves a lot of marks. So you can see my skin has some coverage now. It didn't like cover all of my spots, like you can still kind of see my biggest pimple is right here, but it covers most everything else, definitely evens out my complexion, and it leaves everything looking pretty radiant. Button is currently terrorizing the house. I'm now going to go in with my triple concealer as usual. I just realized I might have made a bit of a mistake. I got takeout a few days ago and it came in this really big bag, and generally speaking I like to leave bags out on the floor for a few days just because the kittens love to play with them, and so I'll leave it out for a few days and then when they get tired of them I'll throw them out. But I left it out and I'm trying to film with a microphone, so if you hear any bag sounds in the background, now you know where that's coming from. They just go absolutely ballistic. Like they go inside it, they attack it, they wrestle on it. They love those bags, and they also really like jumping in and out of boxes. So whenever I get orders or packaging, or if I get takeout and it comes in like a big bag, or if I go to like the Container Store or something and you know they give you those giant paper bags, I always leave it out before I toss it just so that they can have some fun. But of course it means for the next few days it's so loud in the house because they're constantly playing with it, so I'll hear it all day long. You get used to it, and honestly it makes me happy knowing that they have so much fun with something that would otherwise be considered trash. Yeah, my dark circles must just be like the wrong undertone for the Becca under eye corrector, because honestly it's never done a thing for me, like it doesn't really cover it. So when I know everybody was getting really upset and they were like trying to stock up on a bunch of backups, but like I was just like, somehow I just never could get that one product to work for me, which is a shame because I'm like constantly trying to figure out how to properly conceal my dark circles, and I feel like nothing can ever seem to fully cover them up. Okay, so my under eyes are covered and you can see they did brighten up a little bit, which is, I don't really particularly mind. I think it looks fine on me, honestly. I bought these a while back and I haven't really had a chance to use them. The blush balm from Flower Beauty. I did ultimately went ahead and I did sell all of my M Cosmetics serum blushes. I just couldn't get them to work, and after hearing a couple of you guys talk about having issues with it as well, I kind of was like, you know, I need to stop feeling guilty about something not working for me. You know, it's not my fault and it's probably not the product's fault either. We just didn't synergize, so I just need to go ahead and just pass it on to someone else. So I just went ahead and I've sold them, and now I'm thinking that, you know, maybe at the end of the day these liquid blush formulas, as much as I like the idea of wearing them, it could just potentially be that they really just aren't for me. Like something about them in my skin, we just don't agree, because the problem was that I would apply it and then it would disappear when I tried to blend it. And you know, you can't use these over powder or else it makes everything look really strange, but I've noticed even on top of just normal foundation, I feel like it breaks up my foundation. Like I can hardly get this color to show up, and if I'm looking really closely in the mirror, I feel like it's breaking up my foundation. I don't know how you're supposed to use these. Am I just using it wrong? Like I thought my finger was good enough, right? Can't really tell. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and put this color to the side. This color isn't doing it for me. Let's try Nectar. I bought these all like half off during a big Flower Beauty sale, so I'm definitely kind of feeling pretty embarrassed about all these things that I bought only to realize that I can't seem to make them work for me. It's definitely a little bit embarrassing for sure, but I think it's just you know, I'll learn my lesson and then I won't do it again. I'll definitely be more mindful. I feel like I have this issue where I have a fantasy version of me that imagines using these effortless, liquid, fresh formulas for that fresh, beautiful look, but in reality, I never end up using them because I fuss around with them so much. Okay, so this is actually really pretty. It could just been that previous color was not working with me. This foundation I'm using, it's a little bit too dark and yellow for me, especially now that my tan has faded. So that color might just not show up on me when I'm wearing that particular foundation. So I'll try that with something else. But this color actually is showing up and it's actually really pretty. Okay, I feel less bad now. But yeah, like, I'm sure you guys know what I mean. You know, like, you buy something that's really cute. Like, let's say you buy a really cute pair of shoes. I've done this before. You see a really cute pair of platform heels, and they're adorable, and the model looks so cute wearing them, so you buy them. But then, when you put them on, you don't have the confidence, or you just feel so intimidated that you never end up wearing them yourself. But you bought them because you could imagine yourself wearing them. So it's almost like you had like this fantasy version of yourself in your head, and your fantasy self, the self you wish you could be, your ideal version of yourself wears them. But in reality you don't. So maybe then you shouldn't have bought them to begin with. I have done that before because I'm 5'7.5", about 173 centimeters tall, and I definitely have bought and own heels that are like this tall, but then I don't wear them because I'm afraid of being too tall. And because if I wear them, I'm like 6 foot, 6'1", and it makes me feel really intimidated and kind of unconfident and really shy because I'm so tall. I've definitely done that before, and I feel like I keep doing that with makeup. I have a vision in my head of using these products and looking fresh and flush and glowing, and then I actually don't use it. It doesn't work for me. Let me know if you also have that problem, so so that way I'm not the only one. And oh my gosh, the cats are going crazy. I'm sorry if it picks up. Button just terrorizes everybody in the house. She's a force of nature. I've noticed single orphan kittens are they have very, very headstrong spirits. Very. Okay, so I actually really super like this color. I actually really like it. Okay, so I feel less bad. I'll definitely hold on to all the colors for now, and I'll see which colors I like. I will say I don't dislike liquid blushes in general, because I have liquid blushes that do work for me. Like the Glossier Cloud Paints and the 3 Concept Eyes Velvet Liquid Blushers are amazing, and I love those. So I think what my problem is I keep trying to buy these more serum-y blushes, imagining dry skin, dewy look, but they just never seem to work for me, whereas these more matte blushes, like the 3CE Velvet Blush and the Glossier Cloud Paint, beautiful. They work amazing, work like a charm. So I think I just need to recognize, and they don't even dry my skin out that much anyways, they just look more velvet matte, so I think I just need to realize that those serum-y blushes maybe just aren't for me, and I just need to stick to my creams, because I love creams, and if I'm gonna get a liquid blush, it needs to be more on the matte side. I think I just really just need to accept that, and that, you know, it's okay. You know, it's okay for me to get matte liquid products. I'm not blaspheming the dewy gods or something. I mean, maybe I am, but who cares? So I just need to learn to be okay with that. Okay, so the blush is on, so I'm gonna add some powder because my concealer is creasing from all this talking. So this is a total throwback product. This is like one of the first powders I ever bought period. It was during a 21 Days of Beauty like 3 years ago. And this was back when I was very, 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 very first getting into makeup. Like I had no idea what I was doing. My makeup was ugly. I looked awful. Like that kind of, you know, that era. And I just was getting super nostalgic, so I'm gonna use it. I actually made a pretty sizable dent in it too. You can't really tell on camera, but I'm actually almost hitting pan because that's how much I used to use it. Obviously I don't really use it as much anymore because I discovered other things, and this just kind of stopped feeling so new and novel. I was feeling pretty nostalgic, so I'll go ahead and use this. And honestly, BAREMINERALS they make good products. Like, I know nobody talks about them, but they make good products. Okay, so I set my face. I kind of avoided this part of my cheek just to leave it looking pretty glowy, but I went ahead and set everything else because I do plan on using powder products later. I'm going to go ahead and put on a light lip balm because it's in the evening now and my lips are really, really chapped. So this is just a Benebalm, and I'm just gonna rub it on my lips for some hydration while I do my makeup, and then I'll put on something else later. This is what I would wear day in and day out whenever I travel to places like China and stuff where I don't want to have to continually reapply lipstick after I eat. I would just pop this on and be done with it. So whenever I go traveling again, I do intend to get more tinted lip balms, but I just have had no need for them, so I haven't been buying them. But once I am getting ready to travel again, I definitely want to try the Charlotte Tilbury one. I want to get the Dior ones, things like that, you know. And also just a bunch. Like, I've heard the NARS ones are really good too. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and work on my eyebrows. I'm using this in the shade Cool Cookie. I did finally pan my Blackout shade, the pencil side, but the pen side is actually still going pretty strong, so I'm gonna continue to use the pen side of that, and I'll just use the pencil side of this. I was totally expecting to run through the pen side first, but that's not what happened, so. I was going to repurchase the Glossier Brow Flick, but I feel like it doesn't last as long as the Brow Blade pen does, and it's you know, I don't really want to pay that much just for the pen. So I'll probably... I like that one like a slight bit better just because it's a little easier to control, but the brow blade is still honestly pretty good. So I know Urban Decay just like totally nuked their eyeshadow range and now they're re-releasing it in new packaging and stuff, but a lot of the shades aren't coming back, which is a real shame because I was hoping to get some of the Moon Dust shadows, but now they're all gone. So I really hope they don't nuke the brow range they have either, because it's like if they decide that they're gonna get rid of the brow blade, I'm gonna like go out and do what people did with the Becca. I'm gonna go out and buy like 6 or 7 brow blades just because I can. Because right now this is honestly my favorite product, so. I definitely prefer Cool Cookie over Blackout, so if you have black hair like me, like if you're Asian with black hair especially and you don't like dye it or anything, Blackout sounds like it'd be nice, but it definitely is for those who like having a more bold brow. Cool Cookie is a lot easier to use because it's a lot harder to overdo, but it still has those cool undertones. So I personally would recommend Cool Cookie. However, I do find that the pen side of Cool Cookie is not that dark, so it looks weird compared to my brow hairs. So I personally use both. So I'm using the Blackout pen now, so I have to use both colors to finish my brows. Okay, so my brows are done. I'm gonna go ahead and prime my eyes with my favorite anti-aging primer potion. So I haven't really been as active on Instagram lately. Like I go like several days without posting, and I know that's not really super good for like the algorithm or for growing my following or anything, but the reason is because I've been spending a lot more time working on my art again, and now I'm trying to like draw more and grow my art following, which obviously is like 50 billion times harder than trying to grow my YouTube channel, honestly. Like everybody says art Twitter is the best place to post your art because DeviantArt and Tumblr both more or less committed Sudoku, but honestly I literally cannot seem to get anything on Twitter at all. So I also made an art Instagram, which you can check out if you want to, and I mean Instagram kind of ruined everything too, so it's also hard to get traction on Instagram, so everything just feels really frustrating when you're trying to start out, but I mean that's how it is when you're working, I guess. So it's definitely super discouraging, but like I went to art school, I used to like doing art, I took a long hiatus for my mental health, and now I'm getting back into it again and I really love it again, so I really want to be able to be at that point, but it's really hard. So I got really nostalgic because I saw everybody talking about this over the holiday season, especially when they put this vault back up, so I'm going to be using this Sultry palette. I'm kind of thinking of doing... I kind of want to use Cyborg, which is one of my favorite silvers ever, and I kind of want to use it with this blush pink. Kind of maybe this will be like an inner corner pop of color, and I'll use this kind of on the lid, and I'll just like kind of smoke it out otherwise with these browns down here. Thinking that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to start out with the shade Twig, which is kind of like the default starter shade in this palette. I'm going to use that just all over my eyelid. So I also, because like, you know, a lot of my classmates are doing really well. They're doing really successfully. Some of them went to grad school. Other people are just going ahead and starting their careers, and I feel like they're all doing so much better than me. And if anybody else is on art Twitter or is an artist in their 20s, then you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about when I say that there is always a 13-year-old artist doing better than you. And it's so discouraging. Like, it makes you feel like you're having a midlife crisis in your mid-20s. And I don't know about you, but I sometimes wonder if that might be a bit too early to be having a crisis. Like, it almost makes you wonder if because you're in your 20s and they're already so successful, you feel like you're too late, or there's all hope is lost for you and you're never going to be successful and you're just a failure because you weren't successful at X age or something. You know, that's really frustrating to have to, you know, face with that idea that maybe you aren't going to be successful because you didn't make it in when you were a teenager. So I've been really having to battle that because, you know, I don't want to unfollow them just because of their age. That just feels really petty and really immature of me, especially if I like their art. But sometimes I really just let it get to me and I just start thinking inwardly about myself, and I just, you know, I already have such terrible self-esteem about myself. It can really get to you, especially when in the art world your followers are your business. Like, if you don't have followers, you can't get your career. You need people to want to buy your art or your services. I also came to realize as I was drawing, I did take a couple of Halloween commissions last year. I only got like maybe 3 or 4, like, but as I was working on them, like, I didn't hate doing them or anything, you know, they were cute. But I really just don't think if I based my career entirely around getting commissions, which a lot of people do to great success, I think I would not be happy. It just wasn't, it's not for me, which, you know, is not a very smart idea. You really should be taking commissions because that's how you can get your bills paid and stuff, is to draw what people want. And I just could not jive with the idea. It just made me so unhappy thinking about it. I honestly just like to draw what I want, and that makes it, you know, 10 times harder. I also just don't really like drawing fan art. I only do it very occasionally when I feel like it, and then after I draw fan art, I won't do it again for a while. I just really don't like drawing fan art, which again, fan art is how you get noticed, and people will pay a lot more attention to your art when it's tagged with fandoms. So I'm really just making this whole much harder for myself. You know, I keep telling myself just suck it up and, you know, draw even if you hate it. But if I hate it, I'm not gonna draw. Like, I'll just give up and I'll quit like another hiatus or something, which is even worse. So that's a whole deal. There's no real easy solution. Being an artist has never been easy. And I don't think social media has made it easier, and it's also made it harder. So I then started realizing that a lot of the artists I follow, they have art shops where they do not take commissions either, but they do actually sell merchandise of their art. So like they sell prints. That's the most obvious thing you can do, is you turn them into prints to sell. But people also sell stickers, and they also sell keychains and pins, and sometimes they'll even sell clothing with their art on it. So they don't take commissions and they draw what they want, and people can buy their art in those ways. And I realized that that might be something that I want to try, to have my own little small business like that. So I've been working really hard trying to draw some preliminary art to try and get made so that I can start my own little art shop. So that's what I've been working on. That's why I've been so busy and I haven't been filming twice a week like I wanted, is because I've just been really pouring my heart and my soul into trying to produce art and trying to create SKUs that I can post online to like an Etsy or something, and that I could maybe start selling and start building my art business that way, which is really exciting, but really hard. Because, you know, I've been drawing day and night trying to produce this. So I'm gonna go in with Dystopian, which is this darker brown, and I'm just gonna smoke out my eyelid a little bit. But, you know, then, and see, I just am too easily discouraged, or I just believe the internet too much. Then I like start looking online, especially on like the subreddits where people talk about Etsy and Artist Alley and things like that, and I start looking for advice. And suddenly I see all these posts saying, I'll see all these posts, especially on Reddit, saying that stickers are oversaturated and that nobody actually makes money selling stickers. The profit margins are too thin, and stickers are going to soon experience a market collapse, and then nobody's going to buy them anymore. And then I feel to myself, and then I get really upset, because then I'm like, why am I always so late to everything? Like, by the time I got back to doing DeviantArt had made so many bad decisions that nobody uses it anymore. By the time I was going to start Tumblr did that thing, which just completely nuked it. Like, you know, I constantly feel like I'm behind the curve, and I just can't seem to capitalize on things when they begin. And that's really frustrating to have to think about, that my timing is just constantly, it just feels like I constantly have the worst timing. But, you know, then I hear other people telling me this, that I need to get off Reddit and stop believing everything Reddit says. So who knows? I don't really know who to believe at this point anymore. And so overall, like, you know, I'm working so hard on this, and yet I'm at the same time, I'm just feeling really hopeless. Like, oh, I probably won't make a single sale. I'll buy all these things and be out all this money that I used to invest in starting my own business, but then it's just all kind of gonna go, it's just gonna be a big colossal failure. So I'm just kind of expecting that. It's still not stopping me from trying, whether I'm smart or not. It's not stopping me from trying, but I'm also just not really expecting anything to come out of it. So I'm like working, and I feel really passionate and really excited, but at the same time, every time I get really excited, I kind of am like, okay, calm down, tone it down, don't get too excited, it's probably gonna be a failure. So you need to keep your expectations low so that you don't feel too bad about yourself when you fail. And like, I don't know, is that a healthy mindset to have? Like, am I supposed to be overly optimistic and then feel the inevitable disappointment, or should I just be braced, for failure so that I can be pleasantly surprised? Like, I have no idea. But like, it's always been my dream to be able to be an artist as a career. I will still continue to do makeup and to do YouTube, because it still kind of carries that therapeutic side to me where I can just escape from everything and calm down and be creative. So like, I do find myself, I get so critical of my art when I'm working on it, but when I'm working on my makeup, I'm notably much more relaxed. Like, if I goof up my eyeshadow like I just did right now, I just kind of am like, that's fine, I'll fix it, and then at the end of the day I just wash my face and it's gone. somehow I'm able to make that connection with my makeup, but with my art, I'll criticize it and I'll feel hopeless and stuff. So I blew out the eyeshadow on this side too far. You can kind of see compared to this side that it's been blown out like all the way to my ears. So what I'm going to do is I'll take my sponge, which has some product on it, and I'll just kind of slowly dab that away. So now it's less obvious. Okay, so I smoked out my lash line. I didn't do too much, because I'm gonna be putting on that silver, and I didn't want it to look too terribly smoky. So now I'm going to go ahead and put the silver on. Yeah, it's just overall super frustrating. You know, I can't stop overthinking it, and I just can't stop feeling hopeless or feeling like a failure, or just generally just being consumed by all these pessimistic thoughts about my future. I'm gonna put some on my lower lash line as well. And it just, you know, it also just feels really sucky to put in hours and hours of effort into art and to feel a little bit proud of a piece, or to at least be proud that you finished it. It really sucks to put in that kind of effort and then to post it online and it gets 0 likes. It really sucks because you feel like your effort has all been wasted. So I don't actually have many silvers in my collection, period, now that I think about it. All of my lighter colored neutral shimmers are like always like super champagne or pearl or something. So this is my favorite silver shadow, but now that I think about it, it's also basically my only silver shadow. But it's a good silver shadow. I'm gonna use my finger just to amp up the intensity more and to kind of really melt it to my eyelid, because I know ABH shimmers tend to perform really well with a finger. And you know, I've had this palette ever since it first was released. Bought it shortly after its first initial release, and like my Modern Renaissance palette I had to get rid of because the mattes just were not performing, but the mattes in this Sultry palette absolutely have stood up really well over time. So this was a really good palette, so I am glad they brought it back. I'm gonna use a little more Dystopia to darken up the outer corner, because now that I've put on this shimmer Cyborg, I do think I could use a little more depth. So yeah, that definitely has halted my plans of 2 times a week, because drawing can really feel like a full-time job sometimes, because it takes so long to make things. So I really wanted to just take the time to focus on that. I also this month made it a goal to do 1 Lolita fashion coordinate a week, and I'm filming this on a Saturday. It's the first Saturday of March, and guess what? I have not put together a Lolita coordinate yet this week, and that makes me feel really disappointed in myself. But the reason for that is because I have been having the worst IBS flare-up all week, and I literally look like somebody opened up my stomach and put a bowling ball inside of it. Like, I look like that because I've been so bloated, and that's really frustrating too. Like, that's another way to really get a hit on your self-esteem too, to look like that for like an entire week straight. I'm taking Bloom and I'm putting it on my inner corner, and I'm also just gonna kind of wrap it up and over my crease probably. I'm gonna use that to add some color. Kind of like that. I'll add some more Cyborg back in afterwards. I'm not really so sure why the shade is in the palette. I mean, I don't mind. As you can see, I'm using it, but I don't actually really know why it's in here. But I'm not a palette designer, so I guess I don't have the expertise to know why they did it or not. So this is a really pretty shade, as you can see. It's a very intense pink. I actually really like using it as a blush too. I'm gonna kind of wrap it around my lower lash line as well. So I'm just, you know, it's really hard because I make these goals and then I don't meet them, and then I beat myself up. But then I have to wonder if maybe my goals were unrealistic to begin with. So now I'm wondering if I should just be gracious with myself and drop down to 1 every 2 weeks for March and maybe April, and then go up to once a week, or if I should just go ahead and try and get one put together on Sunday tomorrow. Like maybe when I first wake up in the morning, I'll put one on film and take photos before I eat. Why is it that I feel like I look like a clown? Now I'm wondering if this was a bad idea. I'm gonna put on more Cyborg and we're gonna see if that fixes it, and if not, I'll put a shimmer on top. So this is the eye look, how it's looking right now. I actually really like it. It doesn't really have the depth that I wanted, but at the same time, I'm afraid if I add too much, I'm gonna blow it out again and it's gonna look super strange. I also kind of like that you can really just see the silver. It looks just washed over my eyelid. And then there's the pink. Like, I kind of like that there's not too much depth going on because it keeps the whole look feeling more light and airy, despite the silver being such a harsh silver. Also, behold the majestic leg. I will poke the beans virtually. And she's so cute. Look at her. That's Button. She's about 3 months old now. Almost 4 months old. Isn't she so cute? I'm sorry. I'm like super distracted by her right now. She's adorable and everything she does is adorable. And also Miso is apparently sleeping inside the box now. I just need you all to admire Button and pay your respects and salute her, and maybe also offer up an offering of some kind. So I'm going to not use eyeliner. I think I like this. I don't want to ruin it with eyeliner, so I'm just gonna not. I will use my waterline trick, and I was going to use the creme gel liners from ColourPop, but honestly, I bought that whole thing thinking they were all good colors there because a lot of them were neutral, and so I was like, what can go wrong? Well, they all are just not good. Like, especially for, I don't know, I can't make them work, so I'm not going to be using them. I'm going to try using this Glossier Play Color Slide instead. It's more of like a plum mahogany, so it might not really work, but well, it's not so bad. I need to place an order of more CLIO So Sharp So Simple pencil liners that I use so often. I only have black and then like a maroon for some reason, and I do need to get the browns. I just haven't gotten around to it yet, but I love that formula so much. So, and I've realized, like, instead of constantly buying all these other pencil liners and hoping they work, I just need to go back and buy more colors of those. Like, just stop it. Just stick with what works. I'm dumb. I'm a clown. So I've gone ahead and put that in just for the definition that I like so much, and now I'm gonna go ahead and apply my false lashes, and as usual, I'm going to curl my lashes first. So anyways, I hope you guys don't mind me talking because I've done a lot of that today, but I just wanted to share you guys my update, especially because it's like, how in the hell is it already March? Like, what happened to the time? I'm gonna put on bottom lash mascara first before I put my false lashes on, just to get them out of the way. I'm just using the Clinique one because that's one of the only ones I have right now that's not expired, and you know, I probably should toss the other ones. I just keep forgetting to. Alright, so I'm gonna be using these false lashes. These are Doe Lashes in Morning Dew. I just bought their Lunar New Year set. And you can see the difference in my eye shape. Now I just look so much brighter and more awake. I just love how these lashes make me look. I didn't even have to trim these much either. I only maybe had to cut off the tiniest little bit. And honestly, I could get away with not trimming them at all if I wanted to make my eyes look really nice and long, because then I can have the end of the lash kind of extend past my natural eye shape line to make my eyes look, to kind of fake the look of longer eyes. The Lunar New Year set also does come with this metal lash applicator, but it's in a really pretty red. So if you want the set, you'll also get a nice applicator, but it's red. And I'm like, I promise this video is not sponsored. I wish. I would be so honored if Doe wanted to reach out to me and send me PR, sponsor me or something, but I will preach these lashes regardless. I love these. I'm just gonna give them a quick curl. So yeah, so you can see how I really don't need eyeliner because the lashes add that definition for me. I'm now gonna go ahead and draw on some fake lashes, and this eyeliner is actually drying out. I'm gonna use a different one. Gosh, I feel like all of my makeup is just not cooperating with me today. I've had a bit of an off week this week. I've had to nap almost every afternoon today because I'll get into such a bad mood and then suddenly I'll fall asleep and I'll wake up and I'll feel so much better and I'll be like, oh, why was I being so cranky? And it's because I was tired. So now I feel like my outer corner definitely has more definition. I have lashes now, like I drew them in. So I'm gonna call that done. I think the eyes are done as well. I'm not gonna add any shimmer to the inner corner. Adding more Cyborg in definitely really cleared that problem up. So I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the rest of the face. So I already added some blush and the eyes are so intense. I'm actually gonna leave my cheeks at a very faint flush like this, but I am gonna go ahead and add some contour. And I used such a cool tone shadow that I'm not going to bronze. I'm just going to contour, but I am going to make sure I kind of add a little bit more contour than normal. So I'm going to be using the Peri Para Inkvi shading in this shade. It's the third shade, so it's Hazel Gray. It's the one they added most recently. I used to have shade 2, which was the darker one, but that one was way too warm for me. It was like a really orange bronzer on me, so I have gone ahead and given it away. And I kind of want the first color because that's a little darker than this, but it's more cool. This one is kind of like if Fenty put amber in a powder form. This is what it reminds me of. That's what the color kind of payoff is like. It's like if I took amber but it was powder. It blends really nice, and if you're going for a very Korean look where everything is very, very lightweight and sheared out, this contour being so buildable definitely helps, because you don't want to have like a full face of very, very minimal makeup only for your contour to show up really heavily. So for the intended market and purpose, this is a really good product, but I don't think Peri Peri necessarily meant for this to be used with this kind of eye look, that's for sure. But I can't ever seem to find the perfect contour shade for all the situations. Like, I'm on the hunt for more contour shades for various looks and finishes. Like, for example, for this look, I don't really have a good contour or bronzer shade that I would really think would fit. I am gonna now go in with highlighter. I did mention how I made my Becca order. So I did kind of get all the highlighter shades that I was missing that I want. I got like Champagne Pop and stuff like that. And this is one of them. It's Pearl. You can kind of see why I had it on my wish list but never bit the bullet, because it is very, 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 very icy white. Kind of reminds me of that new ABH highlighter that just came out. But with them closing down, you know, now or never, so I went ahead and bought it. Yeah, there's a couple of other shades I want, but I'm afraid they would be too dark on me. And because I can't swatch, I can't know for sure. So I'm probably, if they're still in stock and Becca decides to do this big like markdown, that's when I would maybe buy them. I might also see if I can walk into Ulta and at least look at them maybe. I'm not so sure. But I'm gonna go ahead and use Pearl. Yeah, you can see it's very, very white. So that's why it almost could be too ashy for me. It almost could be too chalky white for me, almost. But because of my eyeshadow, it works. Like, if I were to wear this with normal makeup, I think it would stand out and look really weird. But specifically with a cool toned look that isn't mauve, I'm happy I own it, especially because I would have lost my chance. I'm gonna put a little bit on my nose, a little bit on my chin. I also think that if I want to wear it, I definitely would need to make sure my bronzer or my blush is far more saturated so that the gray can't come through, because right now I have so little blush on that the gray kind of gets to be uninterrupted. But other than that though, it's really pretty. I like it. So, and it definitely works with this look really, really well, so I'm glad. I'm happy with it. I was thinking of using one of my Jaclyn highlighters, but they're all champagne or warm toned, so they wouldn't have really gone with this. I do really want the new Jaclyn duos. Okay, I do. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I do. And I have Ulta points, so I might get them when they come to Ulta, especially the lilac one, because it's not true lilac, it's a very cool pink, and I think that it's just such a really special shade, especially because of the mauve cool trend that is currently in Korea right now. That kind of blush is just, it's perfect for that kind of cool toned eyeshadow look, which I plan on doing a video on how you can replicate that look with American products so that you don't have to go and buy them. I'm probably still gonna buy them because they're really pretty, and I'll do a video on them when they arrive in, like, you know, 5 months. But I did want to do an on-trend mauve look in the future. Probably the video after this one will be that. So I'm gonna move on to finishing my lips, and I actually really like what I've got going on with my lips, so I'm just gonna kind of amp up this My Lips But Better look because I think it really matches my thing. Like, I was initially gonna try a cool tone lip, but no, because the pink is so warm. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do a My Lips But Better, and I'll just leave it at that. So as usual, I'm going to line my lips with my favorite lip liner ever, which is the M Cosmetics liner. There's actually a lot of product in this lip liner, so I use it all the time, but it actually lasts a pretty long while, so I'm happy about that. As usual, I don't really like to overline my top lip too much because I usually overline my bottom lip. I like how I look when my bottom lip is bigger than my top lip, so I usually barely overline my top lip. Especially I leave the Cupid's bow looking the way it is because I like my Cupid's bow. And then I just really just go ham on my lower lip. Like, I just go completely crazy. And then I'm actually going to leave the Benetint color kind of showing through. I'm going to be using a Dior oil, and I'm just going to be using a very, very little amount of it just to add some hydration to my lips. This has the most color out of all the Dior oils, of which I have 3, but it still is very sheer. So I'm just gonna do one dip, so I'm not actually using that much. I'm just using what's on the applicator. I'm not gonna go back in for more. So in that way the lips are actually kept pretty natural. And that's the makeup. Okay, so this is what my face is looking like. I like it a lot. It's dramatic, but at the same time from far away, it actually looks really nice. Like, just, it's really nice, and then you go up close and you're like, whoa. So, and I love these lashes so much. I'll zoom in so you guys can kind of see what the eyeshadow is looking like. Isn't it so pretty? I love this. Like, I can't stop looking at the silver. It is just such a good silver. I'm so glad that they gave people a second chance to buy this palette. You know, Pat McGrath, she's so obsessed with golds. She needs to make silver. She could do a good silver if she made something with silver in it. You know, now that I think about it, she's probably made a silver. I just can't think about it right now. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I haven't edited it yet, so my apologies to future me. But this is probably a pretty long video, but I notice these videos always do really well. I guess you guys like to hear me talk, like, I guess. Let me know. Yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I had a lot of fun just being able to kind of talk to you guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I definitely enjoyed being able to sit down and film and just talk informally with you guys. That was a lot of fun, and I'm going to hopefully do more videos like this. I'm trying to really make it more of a 50-50 mix of voiceovers and get ready with me's, just to see what you guys like. So always you can let me know what you guys want to see me use. If I have it, I'll use it, or if you have any looks that you'd like to see me try, just let me know, and I'll see you guys in the next video.